How great is God, and how weak are we? Who gave this song to Moses? Is God our rock? Is he just, fair, faithful, and upright? Let's look at Deuteronomy 32. Do we receive God's teaching like gentle rain on young plants? Do we understand how just and upright he is? How glorious is our God? Listen, O heavens, and I will speak. Hear, O earth, the words that I say. Let my teaching fall on you like rain. Let my speech settle like dew. Let my words fall like rain on tender grass, like gentle showers on young plants. I'll proclaim the name of the Lord. How glorious is our God! He is the rock. His deeds are perfect. Everything he does is just and fair. He's a faithful God who does no wrong. How just and upright he is. What were the sins of ancient Israel? Who was defective? Who was perverse and crooked? They have dealt corruptly with him. They're not his children because of their defect. They're a perverse and crooked generation. Is this the way you repay Yahweh, foolish and unwise people? Isn't he your father who has brought you? He's made you and established you. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he'll show you, your elders, and they'll tell you. When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the children of men, he set the bounds of the peoples, according to the number of the children of Israel. To whom did Israel belong? Did he protect them, care for them, and watch over them? Surely the Lord's property was his people. Jacob was his part of the inheritance. God found Israel in a wild land, in a howling desert wasteland. He protected him, cared for him, watched over him with his very own eye, like an eagle protecting its nest, hovering over its young. God spread out his wings, took hold of Israel, carried him on his back. The Lord alone led Israel. No foreign god assisted. Who gave Israel the land? Who is the only place of safety? He helped you capture the land. Your fields were rich with grain. Olive trees grew in your stony soil, and honey was found among the rocks. Your flocks and herds produced milk and yogurt, and you got choice meat from your sheep and goats that grazed in Bashan. Your wheat was the finest, and you drank the best wine. Israel, you grew fat and rebelled against God, your Creator. You rejected the mighty rock, your only place of safety. You made God jealous and angry by worshiping disgusting idols and foreign gods. To whom did they really sacrifice when they worshipped idols? They sacrificed to demons that were no gods, to gods they'd never known, to new gods that had come recently, whom your fathers had never dreaded. You were unmindful of the rock that bore you, and you forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw it and spurned them because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I'll hide my face from them. I'll see what their end will be. For they're a perverse generation, children in whom is no faithfulness. Is there a right kind of jealousy, like the jealousy of a spouse faithful in marriage? They've provoked my jealousy with their so-called gods. They've enraged me with their worthless idols. So I'll provoke their jealousy with an inferior people. I'll enrage them with a foolish nation. For fire has been kindled because of my anger, and burned to the depths of Sheol. It devours the land and its produce, and scorches the foundations of the mountains. I'll pile disasters on them. I'll use up my arrows against them. They'll be weak from hunger, ravaged by pestilence and bitter plague. I'll unleash on them wild beasts with fangs, as well as venomous snakes that slither in the dust. Would punishment for unfaithfulness be from both within and without? Outside, the sword will cause bereavement. Within, there'll be terror for the young man and virgin alike. also for the nursing infant and the aged man. I said, I'll scatter them, erasing their memory from the human race, if it weren't for dreading the taunting of their enemies. Otherwise, their adversary might misinterpret and say, our power is great. It isn't the Lord who made all this happen. Should Israel be wise and consider who had blessed them? For they're a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000, and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the cruel venom of asps. Will God render justice and have compassion on Israel? Isn't it laid up in store with me, sealed up in my treasuries? Vengeance is mine, and retribution. In due time their foot will stumble, for the day of their disaster is near, and the impending things are hastening upon them. For Yahweh will render justice to his people, and will have compassion on his slaves, when he sees that their strength is gone, and there's none remaining, bond or free. And he'll say, where are their gods, the rock in which they sought refuge? Who ate the fat of their sacrifices, and drank the wine of their drink offering? Let them rise up and help you. Let them be your hiding place. See now that I am he, and there's no God besides me. It's I who put to death and give life. I have wounded, and it's I who heal, and there's no one who can deliver from my hand. Does God raise his hand, promising that he'll repay Israel's long-haired enemies? Indeed, I'll raise my hand to heaven and say, as I live forever, if I've sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand has taken hold of justice, I'll return vengeance on my adversaries, and I'll repay those who hate me. I'll make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword will devour flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives, from the long-haired leaders of the enemy. Rejoice, you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will return vengeance on his adversaries, and will atone for his land and his people. After the song, did Moses tell the people to take these words to heart. Moses came with Joshua son of Nun, and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people. When Moses finished reciting all these words to all Israel, he said to them, take to heart all these words I've solemnly declared to you this day, so that you may command your children to obey carefully all the words of this law. They're not just idle words for you. They are your life. By them you'll live long in the land you're crossing the Jordan to possess. As he was about to die, did God remind Moses why he personally could not enter the land? Then the Lord spoke to Moses that very same day, saying, go up to this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, across from Jericho. View the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel as a possession, and die on the mountain which you ascend, and be gathered to your people, just as Aaron your brother died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people, because you trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because you didn't hallow me in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet you shall see the land before you, though you shall not go there, into the land which I'm giving to the children of Israel. Who has the authority to take revenge? What are we to do with our enemies? Dear friends, never take revenge. Leave that to the righteous anger of God. For the scriptures say, I will take revenge. I will pay them back, says the Lord. How great is God, and how weak are we? Who gave this song to Moses? Is God our rock? Is he just, fair, faithful, and upright? You decide.